Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Stock Market Today. My name is Ken Shreve, joined today by news editor Ed Carson. On today's show, we'll talk about a really solid up session for the market. Looks like we've got a close near session highs ahead of a key speech tomorrow by Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. But before we talk about today's market, let me throw things over to Ed, and he's going to give us three stocks to watch today.
Yeah, really nice action today. We want to take a look at three stocks that broke out today: Axcelis Technologies, Steel Dynamics, and Insulet.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll start by looking at a chart of the NASDAQ, and I know headed into today, Ed, we were interested to see if the NASDAQ would be able to climb back above its 21-day exponential moving average. It looks like it managed to do that with a close near highs, but index still could have some challenges ahead for it.
Well, for one, this was nice action, and the volume was higher, albeit this was after a couple of the weakest volume days of the year. But it looks like the volume was higher. So nice to see this. All the major indexes moved above this level, and we'll look at those. But we still have to see what Friday's Powell speech comes in, and then assuming after that we still have the 200-day line and the recent highs for the major indexes to get above. But this was a nice day, and even better than the indexes, there was a lot of leading stocks that broke out or flash buy signals, and recent buys or recent breakouts have been working. So the leading major indexes look pretty strong, but I'd say the leading stocks looked even better. So it was definitely a strong day for the market.
Definitely. Okay, well, let's move on and take a look at the S&P 500, which I think also was able to clear a key technical level. And Ed, I have to tell you, looking at that sell-off that we saw last Friday and then the continuation selling on Monday, things really weren't looking that good for the market, but we had a rally yesterday and the gains today. As you mentioned, the action in individual stocks continues to look pretty good.
Yeah, and the stocks we're going to look at and a lot of others, I mean, let's face it, what are they doing? They're moving out of handles, and those handles form because of this pullback. If we end up moving higher, this will almost be a textbook kind of situation where we have a pullback and all these stocks setting up, just take that breath, set up a new buy point and then move out of them. And it doesn't mean that story may quickly change. We might come back tomorrow and the market is down 3% because they didn't like what Powell had to say. But right now, things were looking very positive. This was almost exactly what you wanted to see, going forward.
All right, finally, let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average because, ironically, you had not a great day for Salesforce.com that reported not so great results, but the Dow Jones managed to close near its session high as well. Finally, maybe the IWM, Ed, and just take a look and see how small caps fared today. Just a strong day overall, and we. Again, this is the indexes got stronger as we went into the close, and like you said, we finally got a little pickup in volume. Volume has totally dried up this week, but looks like NASDAQ volume is going to be higher than Wednesday, and also a little bit higher on the NYSE as well. All right, well let's start looking at some individual stocks, and you wanted to start with a chip company called Axcelis Technologies. Now, do you think this one moved based on what NVIDIA had to say today, or just kind of broad-based strength in the semiconductor sector today?
Well, as for one thing, you could say it was coiling. It was sort of like it was getting to this triangle point here where something had to give. I mean, it was coming up on the 21-day line. It was coming down here. NVIDIA had positive things to say about industrial and EV and electric vehicles and automotive stuff. Those industries were working well for NVIDIA. So that's good news for Axcelis, in that field. But yeah, I mean, not only was a strong breakout, it was breaking out, early on while we were on IBD Live, around here, breaking the downtrend of this handle. It just continued to build momentum. The volume, this is the highest volume in at least a year, maybe going further than that. Really powerful move.
Well, we put this one on leaderboard earlier in the session, and it is nicely above the entry. So definitely broad-based strength throughout the semiconductor today. All right, next up, we're going to take a look at Steel Dynamics.
Yeah, Steel Dynamics is, yeah.
I was just going to say we also put this on leaderboard as well because of the heavy volume gain.
Yeah, this was also our stock of the day and was added to Swing Trader. There was a number of steel stocks that did well today, but this is the one that, that some of them mimic the price action in some regard, but the volume was something that Steel Dynamics had. And I drew a couple of alerts here just so I could pay attention to it. It broke this downtrend, so it was actionable off of that, but then it kept on moving higher. There was some positive news from Cleveland Cliffs, ticker CLF, raising prices yesterday, and so that gave some support. Coming up here, just nice action again, above average volume, really the best volume in quite a while. So that was really good to see.
An impressive volume also in Steel Dynamics. Now, when we talk about these cup with handle bases, you can see that Steel Dynamics ran up to a high of about 85.94, and then it just started to drift lower, and volume quieted down. That's just what you want to see when a handle forms. It paves the way often for a potential breakout, and that's what we got today. You can see volume rolled in nice and heavy for Steel Dynamics, and it closed just above the buy point. So this is still looks like it's in the early stages of a breakout. Tomorrow will be important if we, hopefully we have a good up session. We get some follow through for both ACLS and also Steel Dynamics. So we'll have to see. And finally, we're going to take a look at another mover today, diabetes stock called Insulet, ticker PODD.
Yeah, and this one cleared a buy point here at 276.48 a handle. Like all the others, this sort of came down to the 21-day line, found support, and rebounded. The volume looks like it's only about average, and we don't have final figures. It was average volume, which isn't terrible, and it followed strong volume in the prior day. And you look, these are clearly stronger days than we were seeing in the handle. I like the shakeout because when the handle first formed, it felt a little wedgy. So this pullback I thought was really nice to see, coming just down like that, undercutting there. It's also, this reflects sort of the breadth in the market. We're starting to see a lot of leaders from a lot of different groups. So that's a positive. So yeah, there's certain areas that are really hot, and that, but it's not just one group and sector. So it's something investors should be paying attention to. It's like steel, we got medical products, also, a bunch of chips, so a whole lot of different things going on.
Yeah, breadth has definitely broadened out. And of course, now the next test for the stock market will be tomorrow. The Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is going to be speaking, I believe, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And last time he talked at the Fed's press conference, and I think it was widely regarded. He was probably a little more dovish than hawkish. What are the chances we could see a little something different? I know Jed Graham's got a great piece on the homepage of investors.com right now, but what's your take?
Well, it seems like, and as Jed Graham was saying, it seems like other things I'm seeing, it certainly suggests that what we're looking for is a hawkish speech, but not necessarily, he's not going to necessarily telegraph what the Fed is going to do in September or November. He's going to be talking about some long-term, maybe inflationary challenges. That seems to be what people are talking about, saying basically that the upshot would be we're going to need the rates to be higher and higher for longer, and it may be a long term, it'd be just to keep inflation under wraps. So it'll be interesting to see. The market knows this, and so so the market could rally off of that. The market rallied today, even though people were expecting a hawkish speech. So it'll be interesting. Again, it's not so much what he says; it's how the market reacts, and so that's really going to happen. And it could whipsaw around. The market could go one way back and forth before finally settling down and deciding whether or not they like the speech or not.
I think the market is still leaning towards a 75 basis point hike at the September reading, and then a big question mark after that between September and the end of the year. But right now, at least, the market seems to be placing its bet on even though the Fed is going to be raising rates, does seem to be placing its bet for a soft landing for the U.S. economy. We'll see if that plays out. So, Ed, thanks as always for the input and for those three great stocks. That'll do it for today. today. Again, be sure to check out Jed Graham's story on the homepage of investors.com. He's got a great headline there. Fed Chair Powell's speech, the two words that could upset the S&P 500. So we'll see how things shake out in the morning. Until then, Ed and Ali will be back tomorrow to finish out the week. And thanks very much for joining us today. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.